AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3 off. We go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. We're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Ross Jackson will jump aboard with us in about a dozen minutes from right now. We'll talk about Saints players that might be part of these NFL trade deadline conversations. Always appreciate when we get an opportunity to visit with our buddy Todd McClure. Last time he was in studio, we were surprising him with his election into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. This is going to be probably a less enjoyable conversation, but we always enjoy when we get to talk to T-Mac. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
The Snapback with T-Mac is the new show. I mean, you're trying to take all of our jobs?
No, man. Matt, what I'm trying to do, I enjoy it. Me and my son are able to talk a little football. You know, it's maybe something he wants to do later on in life. He's a senior in high school, so it's a good way for us to bond a little bit, and I'll talk football 24/7 if I had the opportunity.
Is it Facebook only, or y'all do YouTube as well?
No, we're on Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, if you still have MySpace. No. But, yeah, our YouTube, we're trying to grow the YouTube a little bit.
Oh, man. Snapback with T-Mac, if you want to give it a follow. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this offensive line, man. I remember you and I, we talked before the season started, and I kind of asked you, 5 new starters, like what's realistic as far as how quickly 5 new players can come together? Well, now we're halfway through the season. So give me your assessment of how difficult it is for 5 new players to come together as one and where they are right now.
Yeah, Matt, it's extremely difficult. And I know we talked before the season got started, and, you know, the talk going into the Clemson game was, you know, the 5 starters and maybe 2 or 3 more guys that would rotate in. And we said, you know, if you got 8 guys that are probably going to play, then you may not have 5. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that right now. I hate talking bad about college kids, but Weston Davis is really struggling. You know, he's a guy that's long and tall, and he's not using his length at all. He's letting guys get into his body, and he has really struggled. And I think that has hurt us on the offensive line. But I think it's the transfer portal era, where, you know, if a receiver, you can go see if a guy can run and catch. You know, a linebacker, you can see if he can get off of blocks and make tackles. The hardest part of that transfer portal era for me is finding a cohesive unit of offensive linemen. And the days of building that, you know, when I was playing, we had 4 guys that came in the same recruiting class, and, you know, we grinded together for 3, some of us 4 years before you got the opportunity to get on the field, and you built chemistry, and I think a little bit of that is lost right now.
Can you elaborate a little more on, like, in a way that maybe the listener who's never played on the offensive line could understand why it's so important and equally so difficult, like what you mean by, like, 5 need to play as one?
Yeah, absolutely, and I can think back. I'll just use my days in Atlanta, for instance. I had a guy when we had our most success, Justin Blaylock. Justin Blaylock was my left guard, and we played together for 5 years. So I knew, say we were running zone to the left, inside zone to the left. I knew what his first step was going to be like, and I knew where I had to fit on that combination block to get up to the next back, to get up to the linebacker. And if we're going outside zone, I knew the speed he was going to come off with and where I needed to fit. My hat needed to be a little more play side, but I knew where I had to be with Blaylock for 5 years. And I think now, you know, with these guys a little bit, you're rolling at left guard. We're having, you know, some injuries and some struggles there, and just not fitting well on combination blocks across the board, and too many guys playing on an edge of a defender, and a defender's able to cover two gaps when he can do that to you.
Todd McClure is our guest. You mentioned Davis, and I share the same sentiment as you, man. He's a young guy. He's trying hard. He's a physically imposing young guy. He's, I think, going to be an awesome player. But there's also some objective truth, Todd. I think we all recognize he struggled. Look, he got pulled in the second half of Louisiana Tech. It's a thing that we can all see, right? But you said something interesting there where you said, like, he's not using his length. He's letting guys. He's 6'7", Todd. He's a giant.
Right.
What?
I know.
What would you? I know you're not the coach, and we don't know what they're doing in practice. But like, if you were working with him, like, what would you work on with him? What would you have him do?
Yeah, for him, you know, I'm watching this last game. Of course, he was going against Stewart, who's an absolute stud.
Yeah.
And with his hands, he was reactive instead of being proactive. You know, and what I mean by that is, he was waiting on Stewart or letting him get into him before he did anything with his hands. And some of the best tackles I played with that were tall, long guys, they would do things with their hands to show that defensive end. They would put a hand out there and let him swat at it, and then they would pull it back and then get in his chest, you know. So it would be little things working on his punch, his eyes. I think his eyes are all wrong, you know, the target he's looking at. Because you watch him on his pass sets, and he's oversetting guys, or he's not setting far enough. And his eyes and his hands, I think you would drill forever, you know. And I think that's something that he has to improve on, and I think he will. He's a young player who has a lot of talent. He's getting thrown into the fire right now, and I think we'll look up in 3 years, and he'll be a strength to this program.
Yeah, he is former Tiger great Todd McClure, newly elected member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. He's part of the Falcons Ring of Honor. By the way, did you see what the Falcons did for Greg Brooks? Did you see that yesterday?
Yeah, man, I did, and I love Ryan. You know, his podcast, those guys chanting, and Fred. I play with those guys, but that was unbelievable. You know, Greg Brooks, the LSU guy, and for Mr. Blank, you know, is truly a great owner, and he's always trying to do things to give back and to help people out. And I don't know if he had anything to do with that. I know it was Raheem Morris, but I thought that was really cool, you know, with my LSU ties, seeing that. And it looked like it truly touched Brooks' heart, and that's what it's all about.
It was pretty awesome, man. For those that missed it, we have a story up at LouisianaSports.net, but Raheem Morris's wife, Nikki, saw the Pivot episode with Greg Brooks and went to Raheem and was like, gotta help. What can we do? And so the Morrises invited Greg Brooks as a guest of the Falcons for a day. And so he got to go spend a day at the facility there with the team, and they gave him his own jersey. And his former teammate, Felipe Franks, with Arkansas, is with the Falcons now.
Right.
And they gave Greg Brooks his own jersey. The whole team came by and like dapped him. It was awesome. I mean,
yeah, it was.
I hate the Atlanta Falcons with every fiber of my being, and you know that. But I agree with you on Arthur Blank. I mean, he's an owner who gets it and has clearly built great culture in that entire organization,
right,
which is really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to completely deviate there, but it was worth talking about. It was a really cool thing. Hey, you mentioned the transfers. Let me get a couple in there because Braylon Moore and Josh Thompson have been, I think, objectively LSU's two best offensive linemen. They're also the most experienced. Yeah, okay, so elaborate. What do you like about the two of them?
I just love I think more than anything, their consistency. You watch the way they play the game, and the way they get after at the second level. I think Thompson at times this year hadn't looked as good because go back to combination blocks and D-line running twist games, and he's next to Davis, who's inexperienced, and sometimes, what the right tackle's doing may make the right guard look a little worse. But those guys have been, you don't notice them. And when you don't notice an offensive lineman, they're getting the job done. And, those are two guys that were huge pickups for this O-line.
I asked Brian Kelly, two more. I asked Brian Kelly yesterday about the possibility of moving Josh Thompson to right tackle, because that's a position he played in 2023 at Northwestern. He was the starter there for every game, and then last year moved to right guard, and he's playing right guard now. What do you think about that as a possibility? Now, they said they're sticking with Davis. Kelly said they're sticking with Davis, but what would you think about that as a possibility?
Matt, right now, to me, Davis is struggling, and it's affecting our running game. It's affecting our passing game. The fact that a change hadn't been made already, it may be that we don't have anybody else or anybody they can trust, because believe me, those coaches, their jobs are on the line, and they're not going to keep putting a guy back out there if they feel like it's going to affect their job security. So right now, to me, they feel like, or so far, he's been their best option, and that's a little bit scary because he struggled. And normally, when you see a guy that's struggling that much, he would have already been replaced. Whatever will help this running game, man, and whatever will help us be able to get the ball down the field. And like you talked about, I don't know these guys. I haven't seen them practice, so I don't know how this group gels.
Last thing, Todd, what have been your early impressions of Karius Kern?
I loved him. And like I said, I haven't been in meetings. I don't know mentally, his assignments and all that stuff. But when he played in the Ole Miss game the other day, I was like, man, this dude's got to be in somewhere, But there's got to be something that's keeping him out of the game right now, whether it's the mental part of it, not knowing his assignments all the time. But as far as the physical attributes and the way he plays the game, his hands, his technique, looks like he should be in that line somewhere.
Why you said when you watched him against Ole Miss, what was it that stood out in the Ole Miss game?
His hands. I watched him whenever they said he was, going to be starting a game. So my eyes went there for just about the whole game because they've been there the rest of the season watching Davis struggle a little bit, and his pass sets were really good. His hands, how he would react to that defensive end going from inside to outside or outside to inside, his feet were good. I just love what he brings to the table. And but there's got to be a reason, whether they think he's a little bit behind and it could be the checks at the line of scrimmage, where he might be a little slow thinking when we go from one play to the next. I don't know what it is, but he has the physical attributes, in my opinion.
He's Todd McClure. Hey, y'all, go subscribe on YouTube or follow the page on Facebook, The Snap Back with T-Mac. You want to hear Todd McClure talking some football? Heck yeah, man. Snap Back with T-Mac. I love it, dude.
Thank you, brother. Of
course, dude. We always appreciate your time. Thanks for squeezing us in today, man. We'll catch up soon, all right?
All right. Thank you, man.
All right, bud. We'll see you. That's Todd McClure. We always appreciate Todd's time. Todd, I know I've told the story before. Todd had the great misfortune of having me bother him in the press box for the years that he was doing the post-game show on Eagle 98.1 Game Day with Charles Handegriff, and we're sitting in the press box at LSU. Todd was right next to me. And when you have an opportunity to watch football with a guy who played, what did Todd play, 200 I don't want to get it wrong, but I think Todd played 250 NFL games, something along those lines. Like, he just knows and sees things that you and I would never look at. So it's like he played 198 games. I'm sorry. I gave him 50 more games. He played 198 games. So, like, he just knows so much and sees so much. And it's so invaluable to be able to sit there and just like pick someone's brain, like when they're watching a game to see what they're watching. But I probably know what the hell out of him. He's the nicest guy ever, so he would never tell me that. But we appreciate Todd. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Excuse me. I had to cough. Excuse me. So Ross Jackson will be with us. We'll come back. What Saints might be part of trade discussions as the trade deadline nears. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Man, deer season is here. Need to fill those plots. Get by Clegg's Nursery. Isn't that a garden center? Yes, it is. It's Clegg's Nursery. But they've also got rice bran and deer corn and Mobucks and Buckbusters. So get on by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. They also are getting in daily all of their fall flowers. So, point being, if you want to decorate this fall, you got to get by Clegg's. Every time they get a new shipment in, they're great about posting it on their Facebook page, so highly recommend. If it's the fall decor, or if it's like those fall, the pumpkin, the pumpkins, hay bale, squash gourds, all the fall decor that we talk about all the time, or if you want any of the flowers. They got a new shipment of camellias. You could plant that fall vegetable garden as well. Get on by and see our friends today at Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. Well, she ain't.
You can always go get your tailgate stuff. By that, I mean your generators, your fans, the stuff you need to power your tailgate at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Great sponsors of our Tuesday shows all throughout the year. Adam Schefter has a list of some notable veteran players that could very well be part of trade conversations coming up by the November 4th trade deadline. He's got 5 New Orleans Saints listed. So I wanted to bring Ross Jackson on from Louisiana Sports.net to talk about this. Like, who's realistically potentially on the market? What might they command? What are the Saints thinking? Ross, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Yeah, man, of course. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. Let's start with the 2 veterans that I think everybody wants to talk about first. It's Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan. Maybe the biggest thing with these 2 guys, Ross, is, like, do they even want to be traded, or are they just dead set on finishing their careers in New Orleans, even if it's, on losing teams?
Yeah, I think that's going to always be kind of the question when it comes to those guys and when it comes to these conversations. The fact of the matter is that neither of those guys want to go anywhere. Both of those guys very much want to finish their careers here in New Orleans. Alvin Kamara has been very kind of upfront about that over the course of the past few years. I mean, we've asked him over at Louisiana Sports.net. We've asked him before during training camp, things like that. You go back, Cam got his extension just a couple of years ago, and we asked Alvin Kamara about, hey, what are your thoughts on Cam Jordan's extension? He said, I don't want to talk about Cam. I want to talk about me. When am I getting mine? I want to finish my career here. And so that's very much been the MO around Alvin Kamara for some time. There was a recent report as well that came out about that sort of talked about how Mickey Loomis, the general manager, approached Alvin Kamara and said, hey, if there's an opportunity, would you like to go? And by all accounts, his answer was that he wants to be here in New Orleans. And we know that Cam Jordan, just like his father, wants to be a lifer. His dad, Steve Jordan, was a lifer with the Minnesota Vikings as a tight end. He wants the same thing in New Orleans. So when you have a couple of guys like that are effectively the faces of your franchise that don't want to go anywhere, very likely those guys aren't going to be on the move.
Does it, that notwithstanding, would it make sense for the Saints to try to move either of those guys?
It depends on the return that you get for them. The thing that's so tricky about that is, any team would have a question about how many years they're going to get from a Cam Jordan if they were to make a move. And therefore, the investment at that position, for that trade, even regardless to his position, which is a premier position as an edge rusher, you're probably not going to get enough of a return to make that worth it unless you're really starving for a day 3 pick or something like that. Alvin Kamara is a little bit trickier. You're talking about a running back, which is a position that doesn't carry a lot of trade value in the league. You're talking about a running back that's staring down the age of 30. That gets even less trade value in the league. So maybe if there's an unexpected offer that maybe makes sense for the Saints, it might send him to a competitor, like let's say the Kansas City Chiefs feel they're one explosive running back away, then maybe you revisit that conversation with him. But based on the fact that the Saints apparently went so far as to have the conversation with him before pulling the trigger, it feels very much like they are willing to take into consideration what these players want more than just what might net them, some draft value.
There's 3 other receivers that are listed. Brandon Cooks, and then two young guys with Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. Let's start with the veteran in Cooks. He's just back now for 6 games in his second stint with the Saints. Is there any market value for a guy like Cooks, especially considering the multi-year contract he just signed in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if I can name a wide receiver that's had more trade value in the NFL than Brandon Cooks, right? Like this guy.
Noted.
The idea that, the Saints sign him this offseason and they could potentially trade him is, if I can drop my, journalist cap for a moment and just put on my normal human being cap, I would say that's absolutely insane. Like, that's crazy. That's wild. And so maybe so. I mean, there's clearly trade value around him, and there has been for the majority of his career. But he is somebody that obviously is coming off a big injury last year, too, so that's got to be factored in. But he has been healthy, although underutilized here in New Orleans so far. Or I shouldn't say underutilized, but hasn't had, the wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 impact, which was never the expectation around him. So if a team's willing to give up something for him that's greater than the value that the Saints are getting right now, which would not be a huge ask, especially knowing that you've got young guys like Mason Tipton and Devon Vele already in the building, and the potential return eventually of other players that could potentially contribute there at the wide receiver position, he would be the one that would make the most sense to move, only if the return is better than you might expect for a receiver his age.
What do you think would be a return better than you might expect?
I think if you got anything over a 4th-round pick for him, that would probably at least start the conversation. Anything in day 2 or day 1 would probably be the conversation. I mean, that would be a pretty easy decision to make, especially when you have a similar style receiver like a Mason Tipton that's waiting there. But a 4th or a 5th-round pick is probably one of those pieces that's maybe a little bit better than you might expect. That would be enough to maybe get that conversation. Which
begs the question why they signed a small, aging, lacking production wide receiver. Never mind. Okay.
Well, especially to not utilize him, right? To not have him be a big part of the game plan, and then you also traded a 4th for Devon Vele, who has not been a part of the game plan. There's absolutely some questions there.
I'm just going to start in on Gum Smack and Mick again, and I don't want to put you in a bad spot. All right, so let's talk about the other guys that might be more realistic, and it's Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Young guys with a lot of career runway still in front of them, and guys that may command a greater asset. Let's start with Olave. If you would, Ross, start just working us through the mechanics of where he is in his contract and what would have to happen for a team to be interested in making a move for Olave.
Yeah. Actually, one of the things that makes Olave such a tradable asset is his contract. He is in the 4th year of his rookie deal. The 5th-year option has been picked up already, and I believe that hovers around $15, $16 million, depending upon what the contracts of wide receivers look like at the time that contract were to set in. But that should hover around that area. And so giving a team full control over contract negotiations, that's a favorable situation for a team that's trading to acquire a talented player like Chris Olave. So his contract, just to start there, is very, very tradable and would make him a desirable piece on the market.
What do you think? You used a 1st-round pick on Chris Olave. It's hard to imagine getting a 1st-round pick. What would be an asset that you think would be worth moving him?
Yeah, I think you move the conversation from 1st-round pick to 1st-round value. And so you're looking at a 2nd-round pick and a little bit of pocket change to kind of help get that pick value up. The typical wide receiver trade around the NFL, as we've seen, is a 2nd and a 5th-round pick. I think that would be enough for the Saints to decide, okay, look, what you're losing here, the value of what you're gaining in potential in terms of draft capital and investment is enough to maybe take that hit for this year and next year. So 2nd and 5th is the typical number 1 wide receiver or number 1 option in a passing game kind of trade that I feel like would at least get the conversation going. The conversation is never really going to be about should the Saints trade Chris Olave. It's more should the Saints receive what it is that they're going after, right? So it's got to be about what that compensation is. I think that would probably be pretty close to a workable amount.
So you're saying, but I don't want to misunderstand, you're saying that if the compensation were there, they should trade Chris Olave.
Yeah, I think as long as you're able to say that what you're getting to you as an organization, which varies over 32 teams, is greater than that which you are losing, then it makes sense to pull that trigger and then figure it out from there. It doesn't matter whether or not, Chris Olave should or shouldn't be traded. That's not really a part of the conversation, right? He's a talented player. He's on an agreeable contract. He would fill a void for a bunch of teams, and you have an opportunity to negotiate his future as an acquiring team to your liking and to your comfort. You're not inheriting somebody else's negotiated contract. All of those things make somebody a tradable asset. It's not really like, should they get rid of the player? It's never really getting rid of the player. It's gaining something in return. So it's really about the return more than it is about what you're losing.
And then Rashid Shaheed, what's the opportunity there?
Yeah, so that one's a really interesting one because I think part of the conversation that you have to have with this one is understanding what his market value is in free agency, because he's going into free agency after this year. And so with that, if he were to sign somewhere and get a big enough contract, you could be in store as the New Orleans Saints for a third-round pick in 2027 as a compensatory selection. So can you get a third-round pick in 2026? Is that enough to move the needle for you? If you can't get the value of what would be a third-round pick in 2027, then you're probably not moving that player, and you're willing to kind of go into the offseason with him, not re-signed, and looking to see what you might return that way, or trying to figure out if you can get a contract done with him, which we assume would be a cheaper contract to get a hold of rather than Chris Olave's contract, for instance.
Is there any other player that you think could enter these conversations?
Pete Werner, the linebacker, is definitely one. I mean, we're not talking about day one, day two compensation there or anything, but he's definitely one that you're watching out for. They, invested highly in Danny Stutzman. They've been getting a look at Stutzman as well as Isaiah Stalbert over the course of the past couple of weeks. And so he would be a player that would make some sense when it comes to those conversations. And then, if you're going to move a player and you want to try to get the biggest return that you can for them, getting a guy, moving somebody that's going to be moving a guy at a prime position or a premier position is a good way to get some of that, nice draft capital back. And so I would imagine that a guy like Carl Granderson could be a part of that conversation as well, because you would get good compensation for a talented player at a premier position.
He is Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net. Of course, you can read him there. If you want to listen or watch, it's the Locked On Saints podcast. So make sure you're subscribed over on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube to Locked On Saints. And, of course, you can read Ross always for free over at LouisianaSports.net. I understand you're going to have a piece on this tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big part of this conversation is understanding the difference between what a tradable asset is and a player that should be traded. None of this stuff is about a player that you're advocating to get moved or anything like that. It's all about the value. So we're going to list out each one of these players and then take a look at kind of top end and bottom end value that you could potentially get for them based on historical trades at the same position.
All right. Unless it's Chris Olave, I'm ready to see him gone. Just get rid of him. If you're not going to make a contested catch, get out of here. I don't want to see you anymore.
Well, you're dropping his trade value if you're moving him because you're mad at him.
Don't care.
What I mean?
Don't care. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. This is pissed off Sean Payton cutting a kicker the next day or throwing the challenge flag just because he's mad. That's how I feel right now. Like the worst. Did Sean Payton have the worst challenge success rate in the history of the NFL? Had to. He was just like a pissed off teenager.
I can find that.
Just throw the red flag. Throw the red flag because I'm pissed off.
He would throw it. It felt like he would throw it sometimes because he needed to throw something or because he just wanted to make the officials do something he wanted them to do.
That's exactly
So if I throw the challenge flag, you have to go and look at the thing. Great, I'll take that win.
He'll give up a timeout to do it. It's just like whenever he drafted, who was the kid from Tommy Stevens? Wasted a draft pick for someone that wasn't going to make the team just because someone said he couldn't. It's like, oh, no, you're going to Carolina. No, you're not. I'm trading up and I'm drafting you. So you can't, even though I'm cutting you. That's how I feel right now about Olave. I don't care how nonsensical it is. I'm pissed off and I want him gone. So get rid of him. Make it happen, Ross. Make it happen. Okay, he's Ross Jackson on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Give him a follow. Thank you, dude.
Thank you, bud. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Be well. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. Hey, go shop them online. Remember, you can always check out the in-house specials there at SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com. Love telling you about South Point Volkswagen because, man, they do such an awesome job of making it fun when you walk in the door. It's not going to be pushy salespeople. The whole concept around buying a Volkswagen is it's fun. They've done an amazing job building that brand and that culture around the brand. And South Point Volkswagen's an extension of that. My goodness, you walk into the showroom, and to the left, they have an old Volkswagen Beetle, the bus, the van, converted into a photo booth. I mean, it's fun. And then, of course, the vehicles, the great German engineering, all the great safety picks, the great value as well. You're buying luxury without the cost. It's at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all. After further review, glad to have you aboard with us. Jimmy will be here in about a dozen minutes from right now for Otterlock, so find out what we're betting on tonight. We'll knock out a quick break. If you want to jump aboard, you can email us, tweet us, or text us. Here's your opportunity to do it now. It's AFR.
AFR.
And a big hat tip to my friends Jareth Nakan and the gang over at Glow Resources, because they built an incredible business that thrives on helping your business thrive. Think about what I'm saying there. I know that might sound like a little bit of a word salad. But at Glow Resources, their slogan is Complete Employer Solutions. For a while, it used to be Complete Employee Solutions, and they thought about it and said, no, we really need to flip that because, while yes, they're helping you find employees for your business, they don't work for the employee. They work for you, the employer. Like, if they're not a temp staffing agency. So if you're looking for a job, don't contact Glow. Glow Resources has a network, and they can cast their net far and wide, digging into their network to find the perfect person for the job you're trying to fill. Well, what job? Doesn't matter. In any industry, skilled blue-collar labor or their professional placement division for any type of office job, from an executive assistant up to C-level management and everything in between. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online at glowresources.com. Complete Employer Solutions.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor sexy.
For the fans, start drinking earlier. Is that what you meant? Yeah, I figured this was Bloody Mary. Start at 6. Get going. For us, we'll practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday and Friday, because it's midwinter break. We have Thursday and Friday off, so we'll practice at 11 a.m. We'll get the guys up. We'll have pregame meal like it is Saturday, and we'll go through that routine on Thursday and Friday.
Love that. Brian Kelly getting his team ready for an 11 a.m. kick in Music City. So the Tigers will practice later this week at 11 a.m. You'll love to hear that. Start to get the body clock ready for an early kick and get geared up, ready to roll. For what it's worth, LSU all throughout fall camp practiced early. We were always out there for our availability at 9:30 in the morning, and they were generally on the field already. So while it's been a month and a half since fall camp, I don't know that that's completely forgotten. And by the way, you all remember being 18, 19, 20, 21. You could rally pretty easily. You could function on less sleep after nights out and things of that nature. Oh, to be 20 years old again. But in any event, by the way, so Thursday, your boy is wheels up to Nashville, and Friday we'll be doing AFR from the Friends in Low Places Bar and Honky Tonk. Can I get some Honky Tonk music? Or maybe Friends in Low Places or something like that. Really excited about our partnership with the LSU Alumni Association. They've been great partners of ours here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge for many years. And quite honestly, I've been traveling with the LSU Alumni Association, Traveling Tigers. The first trip I ever went on with them was the 2009 LSU-Alabama game in Tuscaloosa. That was the Patrick Peterson interception game. And they're amazing. It's a great way to travel. Always highly recommend it. And so Friday, it's this Friday on Broadway in Nashville. It's the Tiger Nation Takeover. Maybe we could fast forward a little bit to the fast part, Muse. Just skip it. Just go blip. Just skip forward. Wait for it to hit. Just go with it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's what we wanted. Whiskey drowns in the blue. Change my blue. Do I have to wear a hat? Do I have to wear a cowboy hat in Nashville?
No, but you should.
Do I have to wear boots?
No, but you should.
T-Bob bought a cowboy hat when SEC Media Days was in Nashville a few years ago.
There you go.
And he wore it every day.
Call him up, see if we can lend it to you.
And then I think he lost it, which is really on brand for T-Bob.
Yeah, that makes a lot of that.
I'm pretty sure he lost it.
I'd be disappointed if he still had it, actually.
Yeah. So AFR, 3 to 6, live music, drink specials, and more, says the flyer. 411 Broadway in Nashville, the Friends in Low Places Bar and Honky Tonk. This is Garth Brooks' bar. Basically, all the country people there loan their name to a bar, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it is. Like, when we were there in 2019, we were at the Redneck Riviera, who's the big and rich guy from Coming to Your City. What?
Oh, yeah, Big and Rich. It's their bar, yeah.
Well, no, it was one of them.
Oh, it was just one?
It was
okay.
Rich. John
okay.
Rich.
Okay, I thought it was both.
They don't
of
get
them.
snooty over there like you know so much.
Well,
you
why wouldn't they do it together? They do
I don't know.
everything
Why
together.
don't you ask them?
I don't know them. You were in their bar.
It's not really their bar. That's the point, Muse. They just lend their name to it. They're not there.
So Garth's not going to be there?
They're not slinging drinks.
Garth's not going to be there on Friday?
They're not mopping the floor.
Really cool.
They're not putting the little wristbands on people and stamping their hand when they come in because you're under 21 and you can't drink and you got the little glow-in-the-dark stamp. Muse.
Well, no.
They just put their name on
job.
it. They put their name on it because that's the appeal. They're not there.
Eric Church goes to his all the time.
Garth's not going to be there.
That'd be so cool if he was there.
But I'll be there, along with tons of Tiger fans. It's going to be a little Tiger Nation takeover in Nashville. Friday, AFR 3 to 6, and it's open to the public completely. Just come on. And then following AFR is when they have the big party deep into the night. That's the place to be on Broadway in Nashville. Friends in Low Places Bar and Honky Tonk. Come hang out for AFR and then stay for the party after. And what else was I going to say? Oh, so we're planning this whole thing, right? And talking to the Friends in Low Places people, and they're like, do you need to be in a quiet spot for your show? So I'm like, I've literally done a show at the Fan Fest at SEC Media Days. And if you've never been, they literally have the two schools' marching bands come inside the Congress Center and play. I was on the other side of a curtain from a friggin' marching band. Whatever honky-tonk you got up there playing bad covers, I'm sure I can tolerate. Or maybe not.
Or maybe not. They also have live concerts now at FanFest, too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of noise.
Oh, it's loud.
Plus, there's a lot of kids running around screaming.
It's noise-canceling headphones and microphones. The equipment is so good. It makes everything fade. If it's not right on the mic, it makes everything fade to the background like it's not even there. So, no, the ambiance is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. AFR Friday from the Friends in Low Places Bar and Honky Tonk on Broadway in Nashville. So if you're in Nashville or know someone who is, tell the Tiger fans, let's go take over. Y'all come hang out with us, man. Really, really, really looking forward to it. When we did this, thank you. You can kill. We did this in 2019 at John Rich's bar. It was like 3 levels, and that place was packed. I mean, when I was starting the show, because I think we were on like the second or the third level, and so there was a stairwell that went down and outside on the Broadway. And I'm telling you, man, when I was starting the show, that line went down the stairs and out. It wasn't because everybody was there to see me, obviously. I just happened to be there. It was because it was where the LSU party is. But, I mean, it was a madhouse in there. So, really looking forward to getting back to Nashville this weekend, do AFR at the Friends in Low Places Bar and Honky Tonk with our friends from the LSU Alumni Association and the Traveling Tigers. And many, many, many thanks to Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. They're sponsoring our trip, so we wouldn't be able to do things like this without our great partners. So Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics, and Veteran Security Services as well. So thanks to our sponsors that are making our trip to Nashville possible. We'll look forward to telling you much more about Our Lady of the Lake and Veteran Security Services while we are there in Nashville. But all the links are on our website, 1045ESPN.com, if you want to check that out. So we'll see you Friday in Nashville. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks next. Don't you move.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet. Renaissance, conveniently located on Bluebonnet near I-10, 13,000 square feet of meeting space. This past Thursday, I was actually at a fundraiser. Left the show, went to a fundraiser over at Renaissance Baton Rouge. And I'm telling you, if you need the big grand ballroom, which can fit 500 people, or you need a boardroom for a dozen people, like maybe you want to work, retreat, an off-site type deal where you have the restaurant, the bar, all the conveniences of the mall and Perkins Row right across the street. But they have boardrooms with board tables where they can bring in food and feed you in the boardroom. They have all the connectivity with the USB, USB-C, power, hookups, all the stuff all the technology you need. It's amazing. Anything you can imagine. They can even take their large ballrooms, shrink them down to smaller. If you need something, you can host a wedding reception, anything. Allison Crump, the events coordinator, always says, we are in the business of saying yes. So if you need an event, you need Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. We are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter! What up?
What's happening, Matt? Boy, we're a fumble away from sweeping the board, huh?
Man, JD5 let us down, huh?
Yeah, he's been really good, but he messed up on that one. He'll be all right.
Yeah, he did.
Damn it, come on, man.
I know. All right, what are we looking at tonight?
All right, first of all, I want to say I would advise to tread lightly as if you're betting on a Tuesday night, okay? So, I mean, it's a tough one. Right. I'm really stuck on this Dodgers-Milwaukee. I just got a little bit of a gut that Peralta, who's been very good for the Brewers for most of the season, will get it done at home here. Get it to the fifth or sixth. Get into that Dodger bullpen. Although I would think they'll use Tyler Glass now tonight. And this is also a little bit of an insurance policy for those that bet. The pick that we put out on the Dodgers at plus 550 or 600 to win it all before the playoffs started. And I'm going to go with the at even money, the Brewers in the baseball game.
Okay, so they got this wrong on the website there because it has the Dodgers plus 100, so plus $1. So that it's not, the pick is not on the Dodgers.
No, the pick is Milwaukee.
Okay.
Milwaukee.
All right. Well, they got it wrong. All right. I'm going to correct this on the website then.
Yeah.
No. Whatever it is, I just want to make sure. I think they got the odds correct because they have it at.
Well, the Dodgers would be minus like 120.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. The Dodgers are minus $1.21 right now. All right. So the pick is Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
All right. I'm changing it on the website. Okay.
Is it plus 101?
Yes. Plus it's no, Milwaukee is minus $1.01.
Okay, $1. All right, but yeah, not the same depth. Yeah, but it's moved very little since earlier today. So we're going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers to tie it up in that one.
Okay.
That's crazy that they almost had a chance to win down multiple runs. A crazy double play off the wall in center field and lifting a pitcher who's from 112 3 weeks ago and 122 for his career after only 103. Anyway, I digress. We got a triple header of low-level college football tonight. Let's get on it. The Liberty Flames. Liberty's been pretty good. You know, Hugh Freeze got over there. Them and Coastal were so good that year. They're averaging 17 points a game this year. This is not our older brother's Liberty. I mean, 17 points a game, and you're going to lay double digits. We're going to go with New Mexico State against the Flames in that one.
All right, New Mexico State's 10.5 right now.
And Western Kentucky the same, not quite as good. Now, look, they took advantage of some porous pass defense last week, but Florida International actually gave up a bunch of long plays. I think 3 plus 50-yard passes. Look for them to tighten up tonight. We're going to go with the points in Florida International against Western Kentucky in the late one. No pick on that middle game.
All right. Brewers on the money line, and then New Mexico State and Florida International taking the points. Where are you tomorrow?
We are at Rio Cantina Mexican Grill in Brewley.
Okay.
So right off the main drag, yes. So it's our Las Palmas family of restaurants. We'll be at Rio Cantina tomorrow.
Very good. All right, Otter, good luck. Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, man. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, shawbillstire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. You need tires? Buy the best tires at the cheapest price at Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. You can shop them at shawbillstire.com. You can schedule service at shawbillstire.com. It's all right there for you. And, of course, they treat you like family. Look, part of the Charlie's Dozen. Price match guarantee. Buy tires at Shawbills. Find them advertised somewhere else cheaper. They'll refund you 125% of the difference because they're the best. It's Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. shawbillstire.com. Shawbills. We keep you rolling. All right, thanks to Shay Dixon. Thanks to Brandon Taylor. Thanks to Todd McClure. Thanks to Ross Jackson. Thanks to Muse and Paulie. Y'all have an awesome night. See you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
Hey now, Supper Club is open. Closed Sunday, Monday, but back open on Tuesday. If you were looking for dinner plans tonight, don't you dare go home. Why in the world would you go home to heat up leftovers or to eat some frozen dinner or something like that? No. Go to Supper Club. Scone, I don't have a jacket. Doesn't matter. As long as you got a collared shirt, you're good. You meet the stated dress code. And I'm telling you, it is worth the trip every time you go into Supper Club. Cannot recommend it highly enough. SupperClubBTR.com for your reservations. SupperClubBTR.com. Supper Club, everything you eat there is just outstanding. Told you about all the different appetizers in the past. The seafood tower is incredible. The colossal prawn is amazing. The bluefin tuna poke. Oh, they got the best steaks, but they got the best everything at Supper Club.